Thank you for joining us to say thank you to the workers on the front line. And there is no worker more on the front lines than our next guest. He has been at UCHealth for 29 years and in his current position for the last 13 as the medical director of the ER, which means he's both a physician and directing all the different things that have to happen and processes to go into having a successful ER. Please welcome Dr. Jamie Teumer. Doctor, welcome.
Thank you very much for having me today.
For some of the people who might not know, what's different about COVID in the ER as you are the medical director than maybe other areas at UCHealth where COVID patients may be getting care?
Well, we're the ones that are going to see them first. And so we don't know if they do or don't have it. We will diagnose it, obviously. So we have to take the precaution that virtually every patient, directly or indirectly, could have COVID.
With that expectation that every patient, no matter what they come in for, has COVID, how has that affected you and your staff over the last year?
You know, we've seen the worst and the best of mankind in COVID-19, and there's been much more positive than there has been negative, and that's a very reassuring factor.
Well, you and your staff have also found deep resilience, and I love what I heard. You had a tough day, and being a Broncos fan, you found a way to turn it around at the end of the day with the 1977 team. Walk us through that day and what you did at home to turn it around for yourself at the end of the day.
It was a particularly ugly day. I was working in our Greeley Hospital. Our Greeley Hospital, and Greeley in general, was hit much harder than the other locations that we serve, Longmont, Loveland, Fort Collins. There's 20 beds approximately in that emergency department. And I remember looking at the tracker and seeing that 15 of the beds were occupied by COVID-19 patients, 3 of which ones were extremely sick. And I was quite convinced that we're going to put them in the hospital, and we're putting them in the hospital and they're going to die. And it was probably the worst day that I've had with this disease. So I went home and I sat down for a minute and I thought, you know, I got to do something here. So I pulled out my tape of the 1977 Broncos team. It was the AFC Championship against the Oakland. Got myself a cold beer, sat down and watched that game again. And it kind of takes you away from everything and puts you in a much better state of mind. And when I was all done, I got up and I went and talked to my wife. I talked to her when I first got home, talked to her again, and just kind of overall, it was kind of a way to escape it. And it was really nice. With
COVID and what you learned in the last year, how have you overcome the fear of COVID, of getting sick yourself so that you can serve our community? What keeps you overcoming fear?
Well, fortunately, working for UCHealth, I've been given all the resources I need to be successful. And then, you know, we have a very thorough process that we go through, whether it's hand washing, whether it's where you take your gear off, how you take your gear off. It's not just taking off, but there's a specific process for it and putting it on and everything else like that. I feel really comfortable that when I go into a room, I'm well protected. That means a lot. I don't want to get sick. I don't want to bring it home to my family. I got 2 grandchildren that we babysit on a regular basis. And so it's just the comfort of knowing all those things. So I think the knowledge of how to do this, coupled with the resources that we've been given, makes me feel very safe when I'm going in to take care of patients.
Well, he is Dr. Jamie Teumer. He's on the front lines, ER medical director. Thank you, Dr. Teumer, for all your work, all your sacrifice, and all your efforts to keep us safe.